We're trying to turn out our supporters. We feel good about it. And one final thing, George, if you speak with many smart Democrats, they believe that President Trump will be ahead on election night, probably getting 280 electorals, somewhere in that range. And then they're going to try to steal it back after the election. We believe that we will be over 290 electoral votes on election night. So no matter what they try to do, what kind of hijinks or lawsuits or whatever kind of nonsense they try to pull off, we're still going to have enough electoral votes to get President Trump reelected.
So basically, for you're saying that the president needs to have a clean sweep of all the states in the Sun Belt that he won back in 2016: Arizona, Georgia, Florida, Texas, North Carolina.
So that we're clear, being ahead on election night means nothing. Just like being ahead in the 8th inning of a baseball game means nothing, or being ahead with 2 minutes to go in a basketball game means nothing. Meaning that despite these absolutely insane talking points by Jason Miller, there is no election for Joe Biden or Democrats to steal. Counting votes is not stealing an election, it's holding it. That is literally how elections work. I can't believe I have to say this in a country that considers itself some sort of shining beacon of democracy, but you don't get to stop counting votes just because your candidate is ahead before the votes are actually counted. What George Stephanopoulos should have said after Jason Miller suggested that Democrats are gonna steal it back after the election is that counting the votes is part of the election. There is no after the election until states certify a winner. Until then, while votes are being counted, the election is still ongoing. Just because someone is ahead at one point in time means nothing until the rest of the votes are in. That concept should be simple enough for even a child to understand. Now, the reason for this Trump strategy is obvious, desperation and fascistic tendencies aside. And that's because we already know that more Democrats have voted early than Republicans. Democratic voters accounted for 48% of all early votes cast, and Republicans accounted for 41%. So because the majority of Democrats voted early, it's expected that Trump will lead in-person voting on election day. What he wants to do is declare himself the winner when only those votes are cast. And because a number of key states, Georgia, Michigan, Minnesota, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, certain counties in Texas and Wisconsin don't start counting early votes until election day, it's obviously going to take time to tabulate those votes. And Trump is banking on being able to declare himself the winner during the period of time where the election day results come in that are expected to favor him, but before the early votes are tabulated favoring Biden. But guess what? It doesn't matter what he declares because Donald Trump doesn't certify the election results in this country, the states do. And that's what's important to remember. Until a state has finished counting its votes and has officially been called, those electoral votes aren't allocated, period. And we should fully expect that many states, even key states that will determine the outcome of this election, won't certify their results until days or weeks after November 3rd. And not only is that perfectly legal, but that's how it's always been. States have always taken the time they need to count the votes. And sometimes the party that's up on election day loses weeks later when the final vote is counted, but that's not evidence that it's been rigged, it's evidence that the system is working and that every last vote is being counted. The question that should be posed to these Republicans like Trump and Jason Miller is, do you not think that every vote cast according to the rules of each particular state should be counted? Because clearly they don't. Clearly, they don't care how much they undermine democracy because their only priority is winning. And so they will show up on national television and demand that ridiculous, arbitrary measures be followed that would barely fly in even a banana republic. All that this tells us is that the Trump campaign has given up on trying to win this election through legitimate channels. And so our job is twofold. First, it's to call out these undemocratic and illegal efforts and call them exactly what they are. And second, it's to vote in such large numbers that their efforts to try and circumvent the democratic process fall flat. It is to ensure that this election is a complete and total repudiation of Trump and his despotic power grabs and his party that's been wholly complicit. We need to show up so that these illegitimate attempts to litigate a victory in the courts, or to get valid votes thrown away, or to call the election while it's still ongoing, all fall completely flat. And we're all responsible for making that happen. The fact is that this shouldn't be a partisan issue. This should concern anyone who cares about our democracy. This should concern anyone who values the concept of free and fair elections. This election isn't about whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, it's about whether you believe America should be a democracy. Because the Trump campaign has shown us, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that they don't believe we are. So put the regular issues aside, because this election is about something bigger. What happens over the next few days will change the course of history, and it's going to take everyone to make sure that it's in the right direction. So if you haven't yet, make sure you have a plan to vote and that it includes someone who didn't vote in 2016. Make sure you've spoken to your friends and family and neighbors and coworkers. Make sure the seniors in your life have a ride to the polls. Make sure you're phone banking or that you've signed up to be a poll worker. And remember that we are in control, but we still need every last person to pitch in. If you like this video, please check out my podcast, No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, where I take a deep dive into the week's most important stories and interview major players in politics, including Kamala Harris, Katie Porter, Adam Schiff, Nancy Pelosi, Eric Swalwell, Mary Trump, Al Franken, Cory Booker, and many, many more. Again, that's No Lie with Brian Tyler Cohen, available anywhere you listen to podcasts.